This is Andrew with opencoaching.com. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something a bit different. In the past I've been posting tips and tricks essentially, right? A couple quick things to get people moving in the right direction. And I was thinking about how to do that. And I was in a conversation with a friend of mine via text message the other day who's a creator, and he sparked something in me that I thought was pretty interesting. I was going down the path of doing a video that I'll probably do in the future, but I pivoted. And one of the things that I wanted to try and do is give meaningful feedback based on my experiences to people. Over the past 10 years, I've journaled every day, and I got into it through a friend of mine's suggestion. It was right at a time when I really wanted to begin to dive deeper into the core of who I am and understand some of the drivers that were impacting my life, both positively and negatively. Thinking back, I didn't believe that I'd have a closet full of journals or even, enjoy it, but I love it. It's become my habit that allows me to release pain. It allows me to be creative. It allows me to reflect. I want to show you how I use it to drive growth. Every so often I go back and I read past journals. I've just gone through that exercise recently, and I thought I'd share it here. So here are a number of things that I wish I knew at 45. Number one, enjoy the day. It sounds obvious, but the reality is for many of us, we don't. We are focused on the task. We're focused on getting the kids up, getting the kids to school, getting to work on time, getting our businesses squared away, getting people in the right spots, or dealing with banks, lawyers, insurance companies, whatever. We are so focused on getting through our day at times that we don't enjoy it. And this hit me pretty hard when my kids started playing sports, because I was so focused on getting to their sport as quickly as I could and enjoying it, but my phone was binging all the time, phone calls coming in, and I felt obligated to respond. One day, my kid was talking to me after her practice, and she said to me, "I love it when you come to practice and you're not on your phone." That changed me forever. Today, I try and be off my phone at practices, but I'm going through the day enjoying it. I'm trying to enjoy my weekly leadership meeting. I'm trying to enjoy conversations with colleagues. I'm trying to enjoy the process of this. Like, this is a gift. Me being able to try and be creative and help others is a gift. It's joy. So the number one thing that I took away from the first point that I found in my journal was enjoy the day. And that ends up pivoting into the others, I think, really well. The next thing that I pulled out of the journal was focus on the substance of people, not the material of people. And that goes both ways. When I focus on the substance of who I am and not the things I have, the outcome is generally really good. Growing up and actually coming up, I was always focused on the outcome. Always focused on trying to get a higher paying job. Always focused on trying to get to the next level. Always focused on trying to take this business or this operation to the next tier. Every time I was successful, I looked around and I had really good people around me. Every time I began to lose my way, I began to have people around me that were more flash than substance. When I began to focus on the quality of people around me, everything changed. What that tells me is that substance is far more important than anything else. The quality of the person you have around you, or the quality of the person you surround yourself with, is the most important thing. And when you begin to focus on your qualities and display the qualities that you want from others every day, good things happen. The next thing I pulled out was pain will pass. I think pain is something that has been a gift to me. Frankly, everything that I felt was the worst in the moment turned out to be the best thing ever for me in the long run. But when I wrote this, I was in a lot of pain. And it wasn't physical pain, it was more emotional pain. I was stretching myself and getting into a new space. So every time I feel pain, I look to what's behind it. Is it me holding on to something? Is it me not wanting to change? Is it others trying to change me and I'm resisting it? Is it me trying to dictate to the world how it's going to be? Or is it the opposite? Is it me really being scared of myself? And oftentimes, all of those factors are at play. But when you begin to dive deeper into pain, the reality of it is the more pain that we have, the more opportunity we have to grow. And when we're growing, we're addressing things head on. I posted a video recently about the 3 most important things that you can do to improve your leadership skills. And the last one was embrace conflict. And really, pain is internal conflict. So by leaning into pain, you'll be able to understand where it comes from. And once you have that understanding, you can begin to address it. The next thing I'm pulling out is I can only do my best. This concept has been extremely popularized by the writings of Don Miguel Ruiz. And for me, it looks like letting go of perfection. As a kid and a young adult, I wanted to be perfect. I wanted to be in shape. I wanted the right car. I wanted the right clothes. I wanted everybody to think I was perfect. When I began to focus on only doing my best, it began to shift everything. If I want to be the best dad I can be, does it make sense for me to buy a new car or invest in the kids' 529 plan? If I want to be the best husband I can be, does it make sense for me to join another club or get on another board? If I want to be the best leader or boss I can be, does it make sense to take on another nonprofit commitment? Probably not. Doing your best is an effort, and it's an effort in self-love. When you begin to focus on what your best actually is, you understand the rhythms of your life. You can then begin to put in tactics or tools or tips or tricks or hacks to help you maintain that. So striving to do your best is something that has really been a new thing for me in the past 5 years, because I always focused on being the best, trying to be as fast as I could in Ironman, or as good as I could in baseball, or make as much money as we could in business. But the reality of all of that is those are hollow. When you begin to focus on what does my best look like, you then become more of an artist. You're thinking about how things fit together. How do I display this? How do I show up? The questions you begin to ask yourself are open-ended, internal ones. The open-ended internal questions that we ask ourselves oftentimes lead us to huge breakthroughs, because you're getting to the root core of it. So for me, knowing that my goal is I can only do my best, that means I have to focus on only me. And when I focus on me, generally good things happen for others. The next one, the worst thing in the moment always turns out to be the best thing in the long run. I can point to 1,000 examples in my life that I thought it was going to be the end of me, the end of my friendships, the end of my marriage, the end of my whatever. The reality of it is we make ourselves so anxious and uptight over something that we don't control. So for me, the cue here is when I encounter something that I think is the worst thing ever, I take a deep breath and I say, it will pass. And it's a cue for me to go back in and look at what I can control. This just happened to us on a recent family vacation. We had 2 missed planes, delays, weather, all these things. It took us 28 hours to get home. But in the end, it was the best thing for us. There was no fighting with our kids. My wife and I were on the same page. It brought us together. So rather than sitting there and complaining the entire time about, oh my God, this is the worst vacation ever, this is the worst experience ever, we were able to come back and say, how cool was that? We got to run through the airport. We got to have a lot more time together. We got to problem solve together. So here it's really important to figure out what's in your control and how can you go back to that first thing, which is enjoy the day and enjoy the time together. The next thing I'm pulling out of my journal is reflect, then act. For a long time, I was an act, then reflect guy. And a friend of mine, Coach Johnny Martin, always talks about the concept that people don't learn through action, they learn through reflection. It's the reflection component that sheds the light on our why. It sheds light on our perspective. And it sheds the light on the areas where we're in conflict and not making good choices. So for me, what this means is taking time to reflect before I act. And I think somewhere in there, my third grade teacher is saying he finally figured it out. There you go. All right, 2 more things that I think are super helpful here. First one, prioritizing new adult friendships, not those adult friendships. This one I think is probably the most important, and here's why. As we age, our world becomes smaller. And because of that, if we're not constantly trying to find and create new friendships, our thought patterns become smaller. It's far too common when I talk to people that they have the same friends that they've had for a long time. Those are awesome. Don't let go of them. They're your best friends. I have them too. But what I find is that around 25, 35, people stop making new friendships. I wish I understood this at 20. I've always enjoyed being around people, but I've always felt I don't have a lot of friends. Over the past 5 to 6 years, I have developed deep new friendships with a variety of different people in a variety of different age groups and perspectives. This eclectic nature of my friend group allows me to get different stimulus. It allows me to think about the world differently, to see the world through different eyes, but it also gets me to vet out some things that I'm thinking about. I can talk to a friend of mine who is in Manhattan making 7, 8 figures, or I can go talk to another friend who's absolutely not in that position and talk about the same thing and get their perspectives. This allows me to have, I think, a better understanding of where my world is at. And when I prioritize making friendships, I generally enter a situation much more open. I'm not guarded. I'm not scared to let somebody in. Like, no, the club is full, you can't come in. No, I want people to come in because it's really simple. As we age, people phase out of our lives. The things that we're into, they might not be into anymore. I had a ton of great friends from Ironman triathlon days, but I haven't done that in 10 years. So our connection's not the same. But I've begun to pull people in from my new hobbies, jiu-jitsu, hunting, movement. And that has been great because I now have bigger concentric circles to work with, and I'm constantly getting different inputs. And those inputs are allowing me to be a better person. The last point I'm pulling out of my journal is a gut feeling and intuition are not the same thing. All too often I hear people saying, my gut tells me this. And then I ask them, what's your intuition telling you? And they go, I don't know. So I say, how do you think your gut decision will make you feel? And they go, not good. So intuition is a feeling generally that comes from a gut reaction. And I always take that feeling as a pause button and then begin to reflect on what my intuition is coming up with and then make that choice. All right, that's it. I hope this video was helpful. And I hope there's 1 or 2 things in there that will help you grow. If you like this video, please do me a favor. Like, subscribe, comment, but please send me an email. Andrew@opencoaching.com. If you have questions, comments, thoughts, I want to talk to you. As always, keep growing.